Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Trouble Home Care. Very glad you're joining us still here through this show. We appreciate it very, very much. I'm very glad to have a friend and colleague for many, many years, Brian Bunn, joining us. Brian, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Keith.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. And so, it's one of those things that you and I have talked about over the years. We've loved music. We love listening to music and hearing music. And Waylon Thibodeaux has just kind of been one of those things that we've known that name for years.
That's correct.
Because he's played music for 30 years here in our community, if not longer.
My first experience with Waylon was at Lagniappe Fair,
right?
Probably in the early 80s. So, yeah, he's been around a while.
Yeah. And so one of those things about Waylon is he's played with so many different groups of people. He's been so very gracious to play at benefits and festivals. But when you're that good, you play, and they ask you to play in lots of places. He's had to travel a lot with playing?
Yes. Waylon's traveled extensively all over the world, practically on pretty much every continent to spread our joy.
And he's done that, and he's shared our culture and our heritage, and playing the fiddle is one of those things that's unique. But he had an unfortunate experience here recently.
He did. He had a show in Nova Scotia that he had finished up, and while traveling back in Newark, his fiddles were stolen for baggage claim. There were air tags in the cases, and whoever stole them found the air tags, threw them out the window, and they were able to track to the air tags, but they still have not located any of his instruments or electronics that were also with his luggage. The Port Authority of Newark is on the case.
Right.
They're working on it, and hopefully they get some resolution eventually.
And so we're not just talking about, this is my guitar that I picked up. One of his fiddles was very unique.
Well, both fiddles were unique. They were handmade for Waylon.
Right.
And what made one of the two special was there was a musician from Louisiana by the name of Ben Bruce who was very famous for what he did in Cajun music. And he actually signed one of those fiddles for Waylon. He was one of Waylon's. Waylon looked up to Ben. And
one of his mentors.
One of his mentors, yes.
And one of those fiddles was signed by Vin, and he's no longer with us.
He's no longer with us.
And we can't recover that signature.
No.
But hopefully we can recover these fiddles.
Well, hopefully we can recover the fiddles, and if we can't, we're going to try to raise enough money to get them replaced. The gentleman who built the fiddles for Waylon is still alive.
Wow. And so we need those rebuilt, but that costs a great deal of money.
It does.
And I love the idea that we're going to come up with a benefit to help with that.
Yes, this Saturday, the 16th, from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Memorial Park next to Lumiere Blues and Jazz Bistro on Main Street.
Right.
We're going to throw a benefit for Waylon. It's free. There's no charge for attendance.
Right.
We have an incredible lineup of musicians coming in. We have Waylon, of course, Josh Garrett. We have Zach Sheremy, Corey Duplashan, Taylor Mathern, Billy Stork, Steve Theriault.
Wow.
We also have Rod Roddy.
Wow.
Tony Hazelton.
Wow.
And Randy Carpenter.
Yeah, and just thinking about that lineup, I mean, if you want to go and hear a vast majority of types of music, that's the place to go.
Also, Philip and Mike with Knock New.
Oh, wow. So Knock New's coming as well.
Yes.
I love it.
Part of.
Yeah, Aaron, I want you to put that back up for a second, and here's why. That very bottom line could not be more important. It's a free admission for this concert, but it's a benefit concert. Donations can be made directly at Venmo to Luminaire Houma.
Luminate.
So Luminate Houma. That's because I can't see that.
That's
for
okay,
it, Brian.
I'm getting on too.
So again, you can do that to Venmo directly at Luminate Houma because we are trying to do this benefit concert. Waylon's going to come out and play, and so many of these musicians that Brian mentioned are going to do the same thing. But it's just one of those things that I know pulls at your heartstring.
Yes.
About making sure that we do this. Tell me how this all came to be and how these musicians said yes. And I'm sure they all said yes very quickly.
Yeah, Waylon is one of the sweetest, most sincere individuals I think I've ever met before in my life. And he's been such a good ambassador to the state of Louisiana, not only the state, but to our region especially.
Right.
Waylon's still French-speaking, Cajun music playing, loving life guy. And when this incident occurred, my first thought was we got to try to make him whole. So I started making phone calls along with some other folks, such as Josh Garrett and Daniel Babin.
Right.
And everyone that we spoke to were on board immediately, unless they had previous gigs to do.
Right.
But everyone that we've spoken to has just embraced it and said, we got to do this.
Right.
He's that special.
Yeah, he really, really is. And listen, I will tell you, I've been knowing Waylon that long. My mom and dad have been dear friends with his mom and dad. And his dad toured with him for a long time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so just...
And managed him.
Yeah. And just that family. Again, that talks about family so much,
Well,
right?
he was also one of the people that played with the Dusenberry family.
That's correct.
Years ago at La Travave. So
Right.
he has been part of this community for as long as I can remember, and has been a rock for it where our culture and music is concerned.
Right. And we need to make, I love the comment about making him whole again. It's one of those things that is so very important psychodynamically about when we have something of us that's taken or stolen belligerently. Stolen from us. It's not theirs. It's something it's a part of us. We feel violated.
Yes.
And this is a way to be able to bring some healing. So put that back up one more time. I want people to know where they can go. Aaron, again, there's a benefit concert for Waylon Thibodeaux. We want to get those fiddles back for him. Waylon Thibodeaux, Zach Jeremy, Corey Dubuchin, Josh Garrett, Taylor Mathern, Billy Stark, Steve Terrio, and so many more are going to be there. It's free admission, but please Venmo at Illuminate Houma to be able to help raise those funds to get those fiddles back. Brian, thank you for thinking of others, as always, but doing something about it. There's a lot of people that think about it that don't do it. You guys started the wheels in motion, and here we are this weekend doing that.
Well, we're still a community, and as long as we're that, we're going to keep doing what we do.
We appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Keith.
All right. Guys, that'll do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on Bayou Time.